You are not as alone as you feel tonight. This message found you for a reason. Listen. And stay with me, my child. I know how quiet it feels around you right now. I know the silence is loud. I know the emptiness presses against your chest when the world goes still. Listen closely. Do not scroll away. Do not tell yourself this is not for you. I am speaking to you because you are still here. Because even in your tiredness, something inside you is still listening. Pause for a moment. Breathe slowly. Let your shoulders soften. You do not need to do anything right now. You do not need to understand everything. You only need to listen. I see you in the moments when no one else does. When the lights are off. When the phone is quiet. When your thoughts feel heavier than your body. You have been carrying more than you admit. You have been strong longer than you should have had to be. I know you tell others you are fine. I know you smile when you feel hollow. I know you wonder why connection feels so far away. My child. You are not invisible to me. I have been with you in every quiet room. I have been beside you in every unanswered message. I have been near you when you felt forgotten. You wonder why no one seems to notice your pain. Why others move on while you stay behind, waiting. Why it feels like everyone has a place, except you. I know that feeling. I know the ache of wanting to be chosen. I know the tired hope that keeps rising even after disappointment. Rest here for a moment. Let the noise inside you slow down. You are not weak for feeling alone. You are human. And your heart was never meant to carry everything by itself. I see the questions you don't say out loud. What did I do wrong? Why am I always the one left? Will this ever change? My child. Your worth has never been measured by who stayed or who left. Your value was never dependent on how loudly the world responded to you. You were precious long before anyone knew your name. I have watched you survive days you thought would break you. I have seen you keep going when you felt empty. I have seen you choose kindness even when no one offered it back. You think no one noticed. But I did. Every tear you wiped away quietly. Every night you talked yourself through the darkness. Every time you told your heart to hold on just a little longer. I was there. You may feel abandoned, but you have never been alone. You may feel unseen, but you have always been held. Slow down now. Let these words sink in. You do not need to rush your healing. You do not need to fix yourself. You are not broken beyond repair. I know you feel tired of being strong. Tired of being patient. Tired of waiting for something to change. You are allowed to rest. You are allowed to feel. You are allowed to lean into me. I am not disappointed in you. I am not distant from you. I am closer than your breath. When the world feels cold, I am warmth. When the night feels endless, I am steady light. When you feel forgotten, I remember every detail of you. You don't have to perform to be loved. You don't have to prove anything to me. You don't have to hide your sadness. Bring it all here. The confusion. The anger. The quiet grief you don't have words for. I can hold it. You have been asking for a sign. Wondering if anyone hears you. Wondering if your prayers disappeared into silence. My child, this moment is not an accident. Your heart was guided here because you needed reassurance. Because you needed to feel less alone. Because you needed to remember you are still seen. Let the tension leave your body. Unclench your jaw. Rest your hands. I am not asking you to believe everything will suddenly be easy. I am asking you to trust that you will not face it alone. You are not behind in life. You are not failing at being human. You are not forgotten. Your journey has depth because your heart has depth. Your path has been quiet because something meaningful is growing beneath the surface. I know you feel disconnected from others. But connection is not gone forever. It is only resting. Right now, your soul needs gentleness more than answers. Presence more than noise. Truth more than distraction. And the truth is this. You are deeply loved. You are deeply known. Even in this lonely season, especially in this lonely season. I am using the quiet to strengthen you. I am using the stillness to speak to you. I am using this space to draw you closer to yourself, and to me. Do not be afraid of the silence anymore. I am in it. Do not fear the waiting. I am working in ways you cannot yet see. You are not being punished. You are not being ignored. You are being held. Stay with me a little longer. There is more comfort ahead. There is more peace coming. In the next part, I will speak to the ache that keeps returning. The loneliness that feels like it never fully leaves. And I will gently show you why it will not have the final word. Rest here. Breathe. I am not going anywhere. My child. You are still here with me. I am glad you stayed. I know it took effort just to keep listening. I know part of you wanted to drift away, to numb out, to stop feeling. But you stayed. And that matters. Let me speak to the ache that keeps returning. The one that surprises you when you think you are doing better. The one that shows up in quiet moments and makes your chest feel heavy again. Pause. Breathe slowly with me. There is no rush here. Loneliness does not always come from being physically alone. Sometimes it comes from feeling unseen even when others are near. From feeling misunderstood. From feeling like no one truly knows what lives inside you. I know you have tried to explain yourself before. I know you have tried to open up, only to feel brushed past or misunderstood. I know how that makes you pull back, little by little. So you learn to carry things silently. You learn to be self-contained. You learned not to expect too much. And now, that strength feels heavy. My child, I see how careful you have become with your heart. Not because you are cold, but because you have been hurt. Not because you don't care, but because you care deeply. You wonder why connection feels so difficult for you. Why it seems easier for others to belong. Why you feel like you are always standing just outside the circle. Listen gently now. This is important. Your loneliness is not proof that something is wrong with you. It is proof that your soul longs for depth. For truth. For real connection, not surface closeness. Many people surround themselves with noise to avoid feeling alone. You did not do that. You listened to your heart, even when it hurt. That takes courage. Even if it doesn't feel like it. I know there are nights when you replay conversations. When you wonder if you said too much or too little. When you ask yourself why you feel different. I know you sometimes wish you could be simpler. Less sensitive. Less affected. But my child. Your sensitivity is not a flaw. It is how you perceive beauty, pain, and truth more clearly. You feel deeply because you were made to love deeply. You notice absence because you value presence. You ache for connection because you were created for meaningful bonds. Do not shame yourself for this. I know the loneliness has made you question your worth. It whispers lies when you are tired. It tells you that if you were more interesting, more successful, more something, you wouldn't feel this way. Those whispers are not truth. They are echoes of pain. Truth sounds different. Truth is gentle. Truth is steady. And the truth is this. You are not alone because you lack value. You feel alone because you are in a season of becoming. This season is quiet because growth often is. This season feels empty because space is being made. I know you don't like waiting. I know you are tired of being patient. I know you wonder how long this feeling will last. Stay with me here. Do not jump ahead. Do not demand answers all at once. Let me sit with you in the uncertainty. I am not asking you to pretend you are okay. I am not asking you to deny your loneliness. I am asking you to let me hold it with you. When the night feels long, I am awake with you. When your thoughts circle endlessly, I am steady. When you feel forgotten, I am attentive. You have not been abandoned in this season. You have been accompanied. Even when you could not feel me. Even when you doubted. I know there are moments you feel disconnected from yourself too. Like you are watching life happen rather than living it. Like you are drifting. That numbness is not the end. It is your heart resting after carrying too much. Be gentle with yourself. You do not need to push right now. You do not need to figure everything out. I am restoring you quietly. My child. There will be connection again. There will be warmth again. There will be moments where laughter feels easy. Not because you forced it. But because you allowed yourself to heal. I am shaping your heart in ways that will allow deeper relationships later. Ones that feel safe. Ones that feel mutual. Ones that do not drain you. You are not missing out. You are being prepared. I know that is hard to believe when days feel repetitive. When evenings feel long. When your phone stays silent. But silence does not mean absence. It often means focus. I am focused on you. On strengthening your inner world. On helping you trust yourself again. On teaching you how to be at peace even when no one else is around. Because one day, connection will return. And when it does, you will not cling out of fear. You will choose out of wholeness. For now, let yourself be here. Let yourself be honest. Let yourself rest. You do not have to earn companionship. You do not have to compete for love. You do not have to diminish yourself to be included. You belong already. I know there is a part of you that fears this loneliness will never end. That this is just how life will always feel. That thought scares you. Come closer. Listen carefully. Nothing in your life is frozen forever. Feelings move. Seasons change. This moment is not your destiny. It is a passage. And I am walking through it with you. If your heart feels heavy right now, let it be heavy. If your eyes feel tired, let them rest. You are safe here. You do not need to hide your longing. You do not need to silence your hope. Hope is still alive in you, even if it feels faint. I am protecting that hope. I am guarding it gently. You are not meant to walk this path alone forever. But for now, you are not alone at all. I am with you in the quiet. I am with you in the waiting. I am with you in every breath you take. Stay with me a little longer. There is more understanding ahead. There is more healing unfolding. In the next part, I will speak to the fear beneath your loneliness. The fear of being unchosen, unseen, or left behind. And I will remind you of who you truly are. Rest now. You are held. My child. I feel the fear that sits beneath your loneliness. It is quiet, but it is strong. It whispers when you are alone with your thoughts. It tightens your chest when you see others move forward while you feel still. Pause with me. Slow your breathing. You are safe here. This fear does not mean you lack faith. It does not mean you are weak. It means you have been hurt by waiting. You fear being unchosen. Not just in love, but in life. In friendships. In moments where you hoped someone would notice you and didn't. I know how that fear formed. It was not sudden. It grew slowly, from small moments that stacked on top of each other. Times you reached out and felt ignored. Times you showed up and felt replaceable. Times you gave your best and wondered if it mattered. Those moments left marks on your heart. And now, even when nothing is happening, your heart stays guarded. I see that. You tell yourself you don't need anyone. You try to be independent. You try to convince yourself that being alone is safer. But beneath that strength is a tender longing. A desire to be chosen without proving. To be wanted without effort. To be seen without explaining. My child. That longing is not too much. It is not childish. It is not unrealistic. It is part of how you were made. You were never designed to feel disposable. You were never created to blend into the background. You were never meant to disappear quietly. The fear tells you otherwise. But fear is not truth. Truth is calmer. Truth does not rush you. Truth does not shame you. And the truth is this. You have always been chosen. Not because of what you give. Not because of how useful you are. Not because of how well you hide your pain. You were chosen because you exist. Because your presence matters. Because your heart carries something irreplaceable. I know the world has not always reflected that back to you. I know people have overlooked you. I know you have felt like an option instead of a priority. That hurt deeply. And it taught you to expect less. But my child. Lowering your expectations was a survival skill, not a verdict on your worth. You learned to shrink your hopes so disappointment would hurt less. You learned to stay quiet so rejection wouldn't sting as sharply. You learned to prepare for absence even before it arrived. I do not blame you for that. I understand it. But hear me now. You do not have to live your life braced for loss. You do not have to assume you will always be the one left waiting. You do not have to protect yourself by giving up on connection. You are allowed to hope again. Slowly. Gently. The fear says, what if I am never chosen? But fear only sees backward. I see forward. And I see you becoming someone who knows their worth so deeply that being unchosen no longer defines them. Not because you stop caring. But because you stop measuring yourself by others' decisions. You are not behind. You are not late. You are not invisible. Your path is unfolding differently because you are different. Your heart carries depth that shallow connections cannot satisfy. I know that makes the waiting harder. I know it makes the loneliness sharper. But it also means that when connection comes, it will be real. When love arrives, it will be steady. When belonging settles in, it will feel like home. Do not rush yourself into spaces that do not honor you. Do not chase validation that leaves you emptier. Do not settle for being half seen. You deserve full presence. Mutual care. Genuine choice. I am teaching you how to recognize that. Right now, you are learning to stand without constant reassurance. To feel whole even in quiet. To know your value without applause. This is not punishment. It is preparation. I know you wish someone would choose you loudly. Clearly. Without hesitation. That desire is not wrong. But until that moment comes, I am choosing you every day. In every breath. In every step you take forward even when you feel unsure. You are not overlooked in my eyes. You are not competing for attention. You are fully seen. Let the fear soften now. It does not need to guard you here. You do not have to prove your worth to me. You do not have to earn my presence. You do not have to hide your questions. Ask them. Bring them closer. I can hold them. If your heart feels tired of hoping, rest. Hope does not disappear when you pause. It waits patiently. You are allowed to take breaks. You are allowed to feel unsure. You are allowed to move slowly. I am not measuring your progress. I am walking beside you. And one day, you will look back and realize this season shaped you gently. It taught you discernment. It taught you self-trust. It taught you how to be alone without being empty. For now, stay here. Let your heart feel safe again. Let the fear loosen its grip. In the next part, I will speak to the quiet strength growing inside you. The resilience you do not yet recognize. And how this season is revealing more of who you truly are. Rest with me. You are chosen. My child. There is a quiet strength growing inside you. It is not loud. It does not announce itself. It does not demand to be seen. That is why you have not noticed it yet. Pause here with me. Let your breath slow. Let your body settle into stillness. You have been looking at yourself through the lens of what feels missing. What has not happened? Who has not stayed? But I have been watching who you are becoming. Strength does not always look like confidence. Sometimes it looks like getting up when you feel empty. Sometimes it looks like staying kind when you feel unseen. Sometimes it looks like continuing even when hope feels thin. You have been strong in ways you never counted. I know you think strength means having answers. Being certain. Feeling sure of your direction. But your strength has been quieter than that. Deeper than that. It has been in your ability to feel and not harden. In your willingness to reflect rather than blame. In your choice to keep your heart open even after disappointment. That takes more courage than you realize. My child. I know you sometimes feel fragile. Like one more loss would be too much. Like one more letdown would break you. But fragility and strength are not opposites. They live together in you. Your softness is not weakness. It is sensitivity. It is awareness. It is the ability to feel life deeply. You have survived moments that forced you to grow inwardly. Moments when you had to become your own comfort. Moments when no one else could step in. Those moments shaped you. Not into someone cold. But into someone aware. You learned how to sit with discomfort. How to listen to your inner voice. How to endure uncertainty without collapsing. You may not celebrate that. But I do. I see the patience you did not know you had. The restraint you practiced when you wanted to react. The grace you extended when you were tired. These are not small things. You think strength looks like moving forward quickly. But sometimes strength is staying still until clarity arrives. You resisted rushing into what did not feel right. Even when loneliness tempted you to settle. Even when silence made you doubt yourself. That was strength. You listened to the quiet warnings inside you. You honored your discomfort. You chose self-respect over temporary relief. That choice matters. I know there were days you felt behind. Like life was passing you by. Like everyone else had figured something out that you hadn't. But growth is not a race. And depth takes time. You are becoming someone who will not lose themselves in order to belong. Someone who will not abandon their values for acceptance. Someone who will not mistake attention for connection. This season is teaching you discernment. You are learning the difference between noise and presence. Between distraction and companionship. Between being needed and being valued. Those lessons will protect you later. I know you sometimes feel tired of learning. Tired of becoming. Tired of being in between. Come closer. Let me speak gently to that tiredness. You are not required to be strong all the time. You are allowed to rest inside your growth. You are allowed to pause without losing momentum. Strength also looks like knowing when to stop pushing. I have not placed expectations on you that you cannot carry. I am not disappointed by your pace. I am not waiting for you to be more. You are enough where you are. Right now, your strength is quiet because it is stabilizing you. It is anchoring you internally. It is teaching you how to stand without external validation. Soon, you will notice it in subtle ways. You will respond instead of react. You will trust your instincts more. You will feel less shaken by silence. Not because you stopped caring. But because you learned to ground yourself. My child. This is the kind of strength that lasts. The kind that does not collapse when circumstances change. The kind that does not disappear when people leave. The kind that remains steady through uncertainty. You are becoming someone who can hold space for others without losing yourself. Someone who can love without abandoning their boundaries. Someone who can be alone without feeling empty. I know you don't feel proud of yourself yet. I know you focus on what still hurts. I know you question whether you are doing life correctly. But I want you to hear this clearly. You are doing the work that many avoid. The inner work. The honest work. The work that shapes character and peace. It does not come with applause. It does not come with instant results. But it changes everything. You are learning how to be with yourself. And that is foundational. When you no longer fear your own company. You will no longer accept relationships that diminish you. You will no longer chase connection out of emptiness. You will choose from wholeness. That is where this is leading. Not isolation. Not loneliness. But grounded connection. I know it feels far away right now. I know patience feels heavy. I know you wish for reassurance in visible ways. But trust me. Nothing you are experiencing is wasted. Nothing you are feeling is meaningless. Nothing about you is being overlooked. I am strengthening your inner world so your outer world can rest upon it. And you will thank yourself later for not rushing. For listening. For staying true to yourself even when it felt lonely. For now, stay here. Let your strength continue to grow quietly. Let your heart soften instead of harden. You do not need to prove your resilience. You are living it. In the next part, I will speak to the patience you are being asked to practice. Why waiting feels so heavy for you. And how peace can exist even before circumstances change. Rest now. You are becoming more than you realize. My child. I know how heavy waiting feels for you. Not the kind of waiting that has an end date. Not the kind that comes with reassurance. But the quiet waiting where nothing seems to move. Pause here. Let your breath slow. You do not need to brace yourself. Waiting has been one of the hardest parts of this season. Because it feels like standing still while the world keeps walking. Because it gives your thoughts too much room to speak. I know what waiting brings up inside you. The doubt. The second guessing. The quiet fear that maybe this is all there is. I know you replay questions again and again. Am I doing enough? Am I missing something? Why does it feel like nothing is changing? My child. Waiting does not mean you are forgotten. It means something delicate is unfolding. I know that is hard to accept when days feel the same. When progress feels invisible. When your heart wants reassurance you can touch. But some things grow in silence. Some things need stillness to take root. You are in one of those moments. Waiting has asked you to sit with yourself. To face thoughts you once avoided. To feel emotions you once pushed away. That is not easy. And you have done it anyway. I see how you have learned to listen inwardly. How you have learned to pause instead of rushing. How you have learned to stay present even when answers don't come. That is not wasted time. That is preparation. I know patience feels unnatural to you. Your heart wants movement. Your mind wants clarity. But patience is not passive. It is active trust. It is choosing not to force what is not ready. It is choosing not to abandon yourself out of discomfort. It is choosing to stay grounded when uncertainty pulls at you. You are practicing that right now, even if it doesn't feel like it. There are days when waiting feels peaceful. And days when it feels unbearable. Both are allowed. You are not failing on the days you feel restless. You are not losing progress on the days you feel tired. Growth is not linear. And neither is peace. Sometimes peace is not the absence of discomfort. It is the ability to sit with it without panic. I am teaching you that kind of peace. A peace that does not depend on circumstances changing. A peace that does not disappear when answers are delayed. A peace that stays with you even when the path is unclear. That peace is beginning to form inside you now. I know you wish waiting came with explanations. With timelines. With certainty. But certainty would rob you of something important. The chance to trust yourself. The chance to build inner steadiness. The chance to learn that you can survive not knowing. You are stronger than you think. I know waiting has made you feel exposed. Like you don't know who you are without motion. Like you don't know how to measure your worth without progress. Listen gently now. You are not defined by how fast things happen for you. You are not measured by visible achievements alone. Your value does not rise and fall with outcomes. Your worth is steady. It does not fluctuate with seasons. Waiting is not a punishment. It is not a sign that you did something wrong. It is not proof that you are behind. It is simply a space between chapters. And this space matters. In this space, you are learning how to listen to your intuition. How to sit with discomfort without running from it. How to find calm without external reassurance. These are skills that will serve you long after this season ends. I know you sometimes fear that if you stop waiting, everything will collapse. That if you let go of anticipation, you will miss your moment. My child. You cannot miss what is meant for you by resting. You cannot delay what is unfolding by breathing. You cannot ruin your future by taking care of your heart. Rest is not giving up. It is allowing. Allowing clarity to come naturally. Allowing alignment to form without force. Allowing yourself to be human in the meantime. You have spent so much time preparing. Thinking. Reflecting. Now, part of your work is to soften. To stop gripping the future so tightly. To stop rehearsing disappointment. To stop living ahead of the moment you are in. Come back here. To this breath. To this stillness. You are safe in the present. Nothing is required of you right now. You do not need to figure everything out tonight. You do not need to solve your life. You only need to be. I know that sounds simple. But it is not easy. And yet, you are learning it. Waiting has taught you how to be with yourself without distraction. How to face silence without filling it immediately. How to notice your inner world. These lessons are subtle. But they are profound. One day, you will look back and realize waiting refined you. It taught you patience with yourself. It taught you discernment. It taught you how to trust timing beyond your control. You will move forward again. Motion will return. Clarity will arrive. But you will carry something new with you then. Calm. A steadiness that does not rush. A confidence that does not panic. A peace that does not depend on outcomes. That is what is forming now. So when waiting feels unbearable, come back to me. When impatience rises, breathe. When fear whispers, listen to my voice instead. I am not asking you to like this season. I am asking you to trust that it is not empty. Nothing about your life is on hold. Nothing about you is stagnant. You are changing quietly. And that is enough for now. Stay with me a little longer. There is still more to unfold. More understanding. More comfort. In the next part, I will speak to the moments when doubt becomes loud. When your mind starts questioning everything. And how to find steadiness when your thoughts feel overwhelming. Rest here. Waiting is not your enemy. My child. I know how loud your thoughts can become. Especially when the world grows quiet. Especially when you are alone with your mind and nothing distracts you. Pause with me. Let your breathing slow. You do not need to follow every thought that passes through you. Doubt has a way of pretending it is wisdom. It speaks confidently. It asks questions that sound reasonable. And slowly, it wears you down. I know how it starts. A small question. A passing concern. Then another. And another. Soon, you are questioning your choices. Your timing. Your worth. Your direction. I know how exhausting that feels. You replay moments. You analyze words. You imagine different outcomes. You wonder if you missed something. If you misunderstood something. If you are failing without realizing it. My child. Your mind is trying to protect you. It thinks if it figures everything out, you will be safe. It believes control will prevent pain. So it keeps searching. Keeps questioning. Keeps spinning. But constant questioning does not bring peace. It only brings fatigue. Listen gently now. You do not need to have everything understood to be okay. You do not need perfect clarity to be at peace. You do not need certainty to move forward eventually. Your mind has limits. And that is not a flaw. There are things you cannot think your way through. Things that unfold only through time. Things that require patience rather than analysis. I know doubt makes you feel unstable. Like the ground beneath you keeps shifting. Like you cannot trust yourself. But doubt is not a verdict. It is a signal. It is your heart asking for reassurance. For grounding. For rest. When doubt becomes loud, it is often because you are tired. Not because you are wrong. You have been carrying questions without answers. Hoping clarity would arrive quickly. And when it didn't, your mind tried to compensate. I see that effort. And I want you to release it. You do not need to solve yourself. You do not need to diagnose your every feeling. You do not need to constantly evaluate your progress. You are allowed to simply experience this moment. Thoughts will come and go. They do not all require engagement. They do not all deserve your energy. Some thoughts are just noise. And you are allowed to let them pass without response. My child. Peace does not come from having all the answers. It comes from knowing you are held even without them. I am steady when your thoughts are not. I am calm when your mind is restless. I am present when you feel scattered. You do not have to fight your thoughts aggressively. That only gives them more power. Instead, notice them gently. Acknowledge them. And let them move on. Like clouds across the sky. They pass. The sky remains. You are not your doubts. You are not your questions. You are not your fears. You are the one observing them. That alone means they do not define you. I know there are nights when your mind refuses to quiet. When worries stack on top of each other. When you feel trapped inside your own head. In those moments, come back to your body. To your breath. To the simple fact that you are here. You are breathing. You are alive. You are not in danger. Let that ground you. You have survived every moment that led you here. Even the ones you thought you wouldn't get through. Even the ones that felt endless. Doubt did not stop you then. And it will not stop you now. I know you fear making the wrong choice. Taking the wrong step. Waiting too long or moving too soon. But hear me clearly. There is no single decision that will ruin your life. There is no small mistake that will erase your future. You are not walking on a fragile line. Life is more forgiving than you think. And so am I. You are allowed to learn. To adjust. To change direction. You are allowed to be human without punishment. Doubt often tells you that you are behind. That others are doing better. That time is running out. But comparison is not truth. And urgency is not wisdom. Your path does not need to match anyone else's to be valid. Your timing does not need to resemble theirs to be right. You are exactly where you need to be to learn what you are learning now. When your mind tells you otherwise, return to this truth. You are not late. You are not lost. You are not failing. You are in process. And process is messy. It is unclear. It is uncomfortable. But it is also alive. You are growing even on days when doubt convinces you that you are stagnant. You are changing even when you feel stuck. You are healing even when questions remain. Let that comfort you. You do not need to silence your mind completely. You only need to stop believing everything it says. Trust that clarity will come when it is time. Trust that answers will arrive when you can hold them. Trust that you do not have to force understanding. I am guiding you gently. Even when you cannot feel it. Even when doubt tries to take the lead. Come back to me when your thoughts feel overwhelming. Come back to stillness. Come back to presence. You are safe here. In the next part, I will speak to the quiet grief you carry. The losses that were never acknowledged. And how healing begins when you allow yourself to feel them fully. Rest now. You do not need to think your way to peace. My child. There is a quiet grief living inside you. It does not always announce itself. It does not always come with tears. Sometimes it feels like heaviness. Sometimes like numbness. Sometimes like a sadness you cannot explain. Pause with me now. Let yourself slow down. This space is gentle. This grief did not come from one single loss. It came from many small ones. Moments that were never fully acknowledged. Feelings that were never fully expressed. You lost expectations. You lost imagined futures. You lost versions of yourself you thought you would become by now. And no one told you it was okay to mourn those things. You told yourself to be grateful. To stay positive. To move on quickly. So you did. At least on the surface. But grief does not disappear when it is ignored. It settles quietly. It waits patiently. I see the sadness you minimized. The disappointments you brushed aside. The hopes you quietly buried so they would hurt less. My child. You were not wrong to feel those losses. Just because others did not see them does not mean they were not real. You grieved relationships that never fully formed. You grieved being misunderstood. You grieved moments where you showed up but were not met. You grieved time. Energy. Effort. And because there was no ceremony, no clear ending. You told yourself you had no right to grieve. But you do. Grief is not only about what ended. It is also about what never began. It is about the conversations you never had. The love you never received the way you needed. The safety you hoped for but didn't feel. That grief deserves tenderness. Come closer now. Let me sit with you in this. You do not need to push it away anymore. You do not need to explain it away. You do not need to compare it to others' pain. Pain is not a competition. And your grief does not need permission to exist. I know you learned to keep moving. To stay functional. To be the one who copes. But coping is not the same as healing. Healing begins when you allow yourself to feel without judgment. I know that scares you. You fear that if you open the door to grief, it will overwhelm you. That you will not be able to pull yourself back together. But grief does not destroy you when it is honored. It softens when it is seen. I am here to hold the weight with you. You do not need to cry if tears do not come. You do not need to have words for everything. Your body already knows what it has carried. Sometimes grief feels like exhaustion. Sometimes like detachment. Sometimes like a deep sigh that never finishes. All of that is allowed. You were strong for a long time. Now you are allowed to be honest. My child. Nothing about your grief makes you weak. It means you cared. It means you hoped. It means you loved in your own way. Those are not flaws. You did not imagine the pain. You did not exaggerate it. You did not make it up. What you felt was real. And it mattered. I know there were moments you wished someone would ask how you really were. Moments you hoped someone would notice the shift in you. Moments you felt alone even in a room full of people. Those moments left marks. And you kept going anyway. I see that resilience. But I also see the cost. Grief that is not felt turns into heaviness. Into distance. Into quiet self-doubt. That is why I am inviting you to slow down now. Not to dwell. Not to sink. But to release. You are allowed to say, that hurt. You are allowed to admit, I lost something. You are allowed to feel sadness without needing to fix it. Let the truth be simple. You went through things that changed you. And you did the best you could with what you had. There is no shame in that. You do not need to rush your healing to prove strength. You do not need to be over it by now. There is no deadline for grief. Healing is not forgetting. It is integrating. It is learning how to carry the memory without it crushing you. It is letting the pain soften into wisdom. It is allowing yourself to be whole again. And that takes time. I am patient with you. More patient than you are with yourself. I know you sometimes feel guilt for still being affected. For still thinking about the past. For still feeling tenderness where you think there should be closure. But grief moves in layers. And each layer deserves care. You are not moving backward. Even beneath your grief, hope is still breathing. It may feel small. It may feel quiet. But it has not disappeared. Pause with me. Let this moment be slow. Hope does not rush back in loudly. Hope is not the absence of pain. It is the gentle willingness to keep living even while pain exists. You have not lost that. I know you sometimes think you have. Because you are tired. Because optimism feels risky now. Because expecting good things feels like inviting disappointment. So you guarded your hope. You wrapped it in caution. You told yourself not to expect too much. That was not giving up. That was self-protection. But hope never left you. It simply learned how to be quiet. It stayed in the part of you that still listens. That still reflects. That still wants meaning, even when life feels empty. Hope is the reason you are still here with me now. The reason you didn't fully shut down. The reason you kept searching for comfort instead of isolating completely. I see that. Hope does not always look like excitement. Sometimes it looks like endurance. Like getting through the day. Like choosing not to harden your heart. You did that. Even when it hurt. Even when it felt easier to close off. My child. That quiet hope is precious. It has been waiting for gentleness. Not pressure. Not forced positivity. Just room to breathe again. You do not need to convince yourself everything will be okay. You do not need to imagine a perfect future. You do not need to make promises to yourself. Hope grows best in safety. So let me create that space for you. Here, you are not required to be cheerful. You are not required to be certain. You are not required to be strong. You are allowed to be honest. Hope does not ask you to deny your pain. It simply asks you not to let pain be the only voice. There is still curiosity inside you. Still a longing for connection. Still a desire for peace. That is hope. Even when you tell yourself you expect nothing. Your heart still listens for something more. That is hope. I know you fear being disappointed again. You fear trusting something unseen. You fear opening yourself just enough to be hurt. Those fears are understandable. They come from experience. But hope does not require blind trust. It only requires openness. A small willingness to say, maybe this is not the end. And you have that. You would not be here otherwise. My child. Hope will not rush you forward. It will not demand action before you are ready. It will not shame you for being cautious. Hope is patient. It rises slowly. It returns gently. It strengthens quietly. Right now, hope is asking you to notice small things. Moments of calm. Moments of clarity. Moments when your breath feels a little easier. Those moments matter. They are not insignificant. They are signals. They show that your heart is still responsive. Still alive. Still capable of peace. I know you sometimes worry that you have changed too much. That you are not who you used to be. That the lightness you once had is gone forever. But you are not meant to return to who you were. You are becoming someone new. Someone deeper. Someone more grounded. Hope is shaping itself to fit this new version of you. It will look different. Quieter. More stable. Less dramatic. More real. This hope will not depend on constant reassurance. It will not collapse at the first sign of uncertainty. It will not disappear when things move slowly. It will stay. Because it is rooted now. My child. You do not need to force yourself to feel hopeful today. You only need to stop telling yourself that all hope is gone. Let it exist quietly in the background. Like a soft light that stays on even when the room is dim. Over time, you will notice it more. You will catch yourself imagining small possibilities again. Feeling interest. Feeling warmth. Not all at once. Not dramatically. But steadily. That is how lasting hope works. It does not overwhelm. It reassures. You have not missed your chance at a meaningful life. You have not waited too long. You have not lost what matters most. Life is still responding to you. Even if it is doing so quietly right now. And I am here with you in that quiet. Hope does not need you to believe everything will turn out perfectly. It only needs you to stay open enough to receive peace when it comes. You are doing that. Even now. So be gentle with yourself. Let hope remain soft. Let it grow at its own pace. You do not need to rush toward joy. Joy will find you when the ground is ready. For now, stay present. Stay breathing. Stay connected. Hope is already closer than you think. In the next part, I will speak to your sense of identity. To who you are beyond loneliness and waiting. And help you remember the core of yourself that has never been lost. Rest here. Hope is still alive. My child. I want to speak to who you are beneath everything you have been feeling. Not the loneliness. Not the waiting. Not the grief or the doubt. But you. Pause here. Let the noise soften. This is a quiet remembering. You have spent a long time defining yourself by what you lack. By what hasn't happened yet. By who hasn't shown up. And without realizing it, you began to forget your own center. You started asking. Who am I if I am still alone? Who am I if I am still waiting? Who am I if life hasn't unfolded the way I imagined? My child. Those questions come from pain, not truth. Your identity was never meant to be built on circumstances. It was never meant to be shaped by seasons alone. It was never meant to shrink when life feels quiet. Who you are runs deeper than this moment. Before the loneliness, you were perceptive. You noticed subtleties others missed. You felt atmospheres. You understood emotions without words. That part of you is still here. Before the waiting, you were thoughtful. You reflected. You searched for meaning rather than distraction. That part of you is still here. Before the grief, you were open. You hoped. You imagined connection and purpose. That part of you is still here. Nothing essential about you has been taken away. It has only been covered by fatigue. Loneliness can blur your self-image. Waiting can make you feel undefined. But neither of them gets to decide who you are. You are not the one left behind. You are not the one it didn't work out for. You are not the one still figuring it out. Those are temporary descriptions, not identities. My child. You are someone with depth. Depth of thought. Depth of feeling. Depth of awareness. You do not skim the surface of life. You move slowly, intentionally. You ask questions that matter. That is why shallow connections exhausted you. That is why noise never satisfied you. That is why this season feels so intense. Your soul requires substance. You are not meant to live superficially. You are not meant to rush through life. You are not meant to numb yourself just to fit in. Your pace is slower because your roots are deeper. I know you sometimes feel out of place in this world. Like you don't quite belong anywhere. Like others understand something you missed. But often, that feeling belongs to those who are here to bring something different. You carry presence. When you are fully yourself, others feel calmer around you. Even if they never say it. You carry empathy. You sense what others need. You feel when something is off. You carry integrity. It is not meant to cost you your peace. You were never meant to exhaust yourself trying to be seen. The kind of connection your heart longs for begins differently. It begins with alignment. Right now, you are learning how to be with yourself without distraction. How to listen inwardly. How to recognize what feels true and what does not. That is not isolation. That is preparation. You are learning how to be present in your own life. And presence is the foundation of real connection. My child. When you are not connected to yourself, any connection with others will feel hollow. You have experienced that. Moments where you were not alone, yet felt unseen. Moments where conversation existed, but resonance did not. That was not your failure. That was misalignment. You were in spaces that did not match your depth. You were offering presence to people who could not meet you there. And that loneliness taught you discernment. It taught you not to confuse proximity with intimacy. Not to confuse attention with care. Not to confuse familiarity with safety. Those lessons were not easy. But they were necessary. You are not meant to connect with everyone. You are meant to connect deeply with a few. That kind of connection does not rush. It does not demand performance. It does not ask you to shrink or stretch unnaturally. It feels calm. It feels mutual. It feels like being understood without constant explanation. You have not missed that kind of connection. You have been protected until you were ready for it. Because deep connection requires self-knowledge. It requires boundaries. It requires clarity. And you are gaining those now. I know part of you worries that becoming comfortable alone will make you isolated forever. That if you stop seeking, nothing will come. But stillness does not repel connection. Desperation does. When you are grounded within yourself, you recognize what feels right more quickly. You stop chasing what feels off. You stop settling for partial presence. That is not closing your heart. That is honoring it. My child. Connection that is meant for you will not require you to abandon yourself. It will not leave you anxious. It will not make you question your worth. It will not feel like constant effort. It will arrive quietly. Naturally. At the pace you can hold. And when it does, you will be ready. Because you will know how to be present without losing yourself. You will know how to listen without disappearing. You will know how to give without depletion. This season is teaching you those skills. I know it feels lonely to learn them this way. I know you wish someone could walk beside you through it all. But learning to be with yourself is not replacing connection. It is refining your capacity for it. You are becoming someone who can receive love without suspicion. Someone who can enjoy companionship without fear of loss. Someone who can choose connection freely, not out of need. That is powerful. And it cannot be rushed. You do not need to withdraw completely from the world. You do not need to isolate to protect yourself. You only need to remain honest with what feels nourishing. Let yourself notice when your energy lifts around someone. When your body relaxes. When conversation feels easy. Those moments are hints. And let yourself step back from what drains you without guilt. You do not owe constant access to your heart. Connection thrives where there is safety. And safety begins within. My child. You are not being prepared for loneliness. You are being prepared for meaningful presence. One day, you will notice that you no longer chase. You no longer overextend. You no longer question your worth in silence. And in that steadiness, connection will find you. Not loudly. Not dramatically. But clearly. Until then, be patient with yourself. Stay open, but grounded. Curious, but discerning. You are not alone in this process. I am walking with you through every quiet realization. In the next part, I will speak to your tired heart. To the exhaustion you carry from being strong for so long. And how true rest begins inside you. Stay here. You are being prepared, not left behind. My child. I know how tired your heart is. Not the kind of tired that sleep fixes. But the deep tiredness that settles into your bones. The exhaustion that comes from holding yourself together for too long. Pause with me now. Let your body soften. You do not need to brace yourself here. You have been strong in quiet ways. Strong without being recognized. Strong without being supported the way you needed. That kind of strength costs something. I know you wake up already tired some days. I know rest feels incomplete. I know even calm moments can feel heavy. That is not because you are weak. It is because you have been carrying emotional weight for a long time. You have been processing. Reflecting. Waiting. Hoping. And hope, when stretched over time, can be tiring. My child. You were never meant to carry everything alone. Even when you learned how. I know you tell yourself to push through. To stay functional. To keep going because you have no other choice. But constant endurance is not rest. And survival is not peace. You do not need to collapse to deserve relief. You do not need to break to be held. You do not need to prove exhaustion to be allowed rest. You are allowed to rest because you are human. True rest does not begin with sleep. It begins with safety. With knowing you are not about to be judged. Not about to be required to perform. Not about to be asked for more. Let this be that place for you. Here, you do not need to explain yourself. Here, you do not need to justify your pace. Here, you do not need to be productive. You can simply be. My child. I know your mind stays alert even when your body lies down. I know relaxation feels unfamiliar. I know part of you stays vigilant, just in case. That vigilance came from experience. From learning that things can shift suddenly. From learning not to get too comfortable. But you are safe here. You do not need to stay on guard with me. You do not need to anticipate disappointment. You do not need to prepare for loss. Rest is not dangerous. Letting go will not make you careless. Softening will not make you vulnerable in the wrong way. It will simply give your nervous system permission to breathe. You have been living in a quiet state of alertness. Watching for signs. Reading between lines. Trying to predict outcomes. That takes energy. And it is okay to stop. You do not need to solve your life tonight. You do not need to replay the past. You do not need to plan the future. Come back to this moment. Feel your breath. Notice the space around you. Let your shoulders drop. My child. Rest is not something you earn. It is something you allow. And allowing rest does not mean you stop caring. It means you trust that you can pause without everything falling apart. Nothing important will be lost if you rest. Nothing meaningful will disappear. You will not miss what is meant for you by slowing down. In fact, rest will help you receive it. You have been holding yourself together through willpower. Now it is time to be held by gentleness. That gentleness begins inside you. Speak kindly to yourself. Release unrealistic expectations. Stop measuring your worth by your output. You are not a machine. You are a soul. And souls need rest that goes deeper than sleep. Rest that comes from feeling accepted as you are. Rest that comes from not having to prove anything. Rest that comes from being allowed to be unfinished. You are unfinished. And that is not a flaw. It is a living process. My child. I am not asking you to do more. I am inviting you to do less. Less pushing. Less judging. Less forcing yourself to be okay. Let yourself feel what you feel without fixing it. Let yourself pause without guilt. Let yourself stop trying to get ahead of your own healing. Your tiredness is not asking for answers. It is asking for compassion. Give yourself that now. I am not disappointed by your weariness. I am not waiting for you to be energetic again. I am here with you exactly as you are. You are allowed to lean. You are allowed to slow. You are allowed to rest. Even if nothing else changes yet. This can. In time, energy will return. Clarity will feel lighter. Movement will come naturally. But first, rest. Not escape. Not avoidance. But deep, honest rest. The kind that says, I am allowed to be human. Stay here a little longer. Let your heart settle. Let your breath deepen. In the next part, I will speak to trust. Not blind trust, but the kind that grows slowly after disappointment. And how to begin rebuilding it without fear. Rest now. You do not have to hold everything anymore. My child. I want to speak to you about trust. Not the kind that asks you to ignore your pain. Not the kind that demands certainty. But the kind that grows slowly, carefully, after disappointment. Pause with me. Let these words arrive gently. There is no pressure here. Trust used to come easily to you. You believed. You hoped. You leaned forward with openness. Then life taught you caution. Moments did not turn out the way you expected. People did not show up the way you needed. Promises felt fragile. So you adapted. You became careful. You learned to wait and see. You learned not to give everything at once. That was not a failure of trust. That was wisdom forming. But somewhere along the way, caution became heaviness. And heaviness became distance. Now you want to trust again. But you are afraid of being disappointed. Afraid of being naive. Afraid of being hurt in the same places. My child. You are not wrong to be careful. Trust is not rebuilt by forcing openness. It is rebuilt by safety. And safety grows in small, consistent moments. You do not need to trust everything. You do not need to trust everyone. You do not need to trust all at once. You only need to trust what feels steady. Start with yourself. Trust your ability to sense what feels right. Trust your intuition when something feels off. Trust that you can handle discomfort without collapsing. You have already proven this. You survived disappointment. You survived loneliness. You survived seasons you thought would undo you. You are still here. That means you can trust your resilience. My child. Trust does not mean believing nothing will go wrong. It means believing you will not be destroyed if it does. That is a different kind of confidence. You have been learning that confidence quietly. Each time you sat with uncertainty instead of running. Each time you chose honesty over pretending. Each time you allowed yourself to feel without numbing. Those moments built trust. Not in outcomes, but in yourself. Now, let that trust extend gently outward. Not to grand expectations. Not to imagined futures. But to the present moment. Trust this breath. Trust this pause. Trust that right now, you are safe. You do not need guarantees to rest. You do not need clarity to breathe deeply. You do not need certainty to be present. Trust grows when you allow small moments of ease. Let your body notice when it feels calm. Let your mind notice when it softens. Let your heart notice when it does not feel guarded. Those moments are teaching you something important. You are not as closed as you think. You are not as broken as you fear. You are not incapable of trust. You are simply rebuilding it with care. And that is healthy. My child. Do not rush this process. Trust that is rushed becomes fragile. Trust that is pressured becomes performative. Trust that is earned slowly becomes stable. You are learning to trust without losing yourself. To open without overextending. To hope without ignoring reality. That balance will serve you well. You do not need to apologize for being selective. You do not need to explain your boundaries. You do not need to justify your pace. Trust that is right for you will respect your rhythm. And I am here in this rebuilding with you. Even when you hesitate. Even when you doubt. Even when old fears resurface. You are not starting from nothing. You are starting from experience. Experience has made you wiser. More discerning. More aware. That is not a loss. That is growth. One day, you will notice that trust feels different. Calmer. Less anxious. Less urgent. You will not cling to it. You will not fear losing it constantly. You will simply live it. Until then, be patient with yourself. Trust does not need to be loud to be real. It only needs to be honest. I am not asking you to trust blindly. I am asking you to trust gently. Trust that you are being guided. Trust that your healing is unfolding. Trust that this season is shaping something solid within you. You are not naive for wanting to trust again. You are brave. And you are not alone in it. Stay with me. Let trust continue to form quietly. In the next part, I will speak to the fear of being left again. The fear that keeps your heart guarded. And how to begin releasing it without forcing yourself to be fearless. Rest here. Trust is growing, even now. My child. I know there is a fear that still lingers quietly inside you. The fear of being left again. Not loudly spoken. Not always conscious. But present. Pause with me now. Let this moment be slow and safe. There is nothing to defend yourself from here. This fear did not come from nowhere. It came from memory. From moments when connection faded without warning. From times when you opened your heart and felt the space where someone used to be. You learned that people can leave even when things seem stable. That silence can arrive suddenly. That closeness does not always stay. So part of you stays alert now. Watching. Preparing. Trying not to be caught off guard again. That vigilance makes sense. It was your heart trying to protect itself. But protection, when carried too long, becomes heavy. I know this fear shows up subtly. In hesitation. In holding back a little too much. in expecting distance before it actually appears. You don't always notice it. But it shapes how close you allow yourself to get. My child. You are not wrong for feeling this way. Fear of loss is a natural response to loss itself. And healing does not mean pretending that fear never existed. Healing means learning how to carry it without letting it lead. You do not need to erase this fear. You do not need to silence it forcefully. You only need to understand it. This fear is not telling you that everyone will leave. It is telling you that you were hurt before. And that matters. Let me speak gently to the part of you that is afraid. You are not helpless anymore. You are not unaware. You are not the same person you were then. You have learned how to listen to yourself. How to notice red flags. How to step back when something does not feel right. You are not defenseless. Even if someone leaves in the future, it will not erase you. It will not undo your growth. It will not define your worth. You survived loss before. And you grew. That does not mean it would not hurt again. But it means it would not destroy you. Fear tells you that being left would be unbearable. But experience tells a different story. You endured. You adapted. You learned. You are stronger now. My child. The goal is not to stop caring. It is not to close your heart. It is not to become detached. The goal is to love without abandoning yourself. To stay open while staying grounded. To connect while staying anchored inside. To allow closeness without losing your center. That balance is what you are learning now. You do not need to promise yourself that no one will ever leave. That promise cannot be kept. What you can trust is this. You will not leave yourself. You will listen to your needs. You will honor your boundaries. You will care for your heart with wisdom. That trust is more important than any guarantee. My child. When fear of abandonment arises, pause. Notice it without judgment. Breathe. Remind yourself where you are now. You are not in the past. You are not powerless. You are not unseen. You are here. You are aware. You are supported. Fear loses its grip when it is acknowledged calmly. You do not need to rush yourself into courage. Courage grows naturally when safety is present. And safety begins within. I am not asking you to open your heart recklessly. I am inviting you to open it wisely. To choose connections that feel mutual. To invest where there is care. To step back when something feels unstable. You are allowed to protect your peace without building walls. Walls isolate. Boundaries protect. You are learning the difference. One day, you will notice that fear no longer speaks as loudly. It will still whisper sometimes. But it will not control your choices. You will be able to stay present even when uncertainty exists. You will be able to enjoy connection without constantly scanning for loss. That peace will come from trust in yourself. My child. You are not destined to be abandoned. You are not cursed with loss. You are not meant to live guarded forever. This fear is a chapter, not the ending. And it is already loosening. Stay with me here. Let your heart feel supported. Let your breath deepen. In the next part, I will speak to surrender. Not giving up, but releasing control gently. And how peace begins when you stop gripping what you cannot manage. Rest now. You are safe to soften. My child. I want to speak to you about surrender. Not the kind that feels like defeat. Not the kind that gives up on hope. But the quiet release that comes when you stop gripping what was never yours to control. Pause here. Let your hands relax. Let your breath slow. You have been holding on tightly. To plans. To expectations. To outcomes you thought would protect you from pain. Holding on felt necessary. It felt like the only way to stay safe. Like if you stayed alert, nothing would surprise you. But constant control is exhausting. I know you tell yourself that letting go is dangerous. That if you loosen your grip, everything will fall apart. That surrender means you stop caring. My child. That is not what surrender is. Surrender is not apathy. It is not resignation. It is not giving up on what matters to you. Surrender is choosing peace over constant vigilance. It is releasing the illusion that you must manage everything to survive. You have been carrying responsibility that does not belong to you. Responsibility for timing. Responsibility for others' choices. Responsibility for outcomes beyond your reach. That weight was never meant for your heart. I know control made you feel safer after disappointment. It gave you something to hold on to when certainty disappeared. But over time, it became a burden. You began to measure every step. Second-guess every feeling. Anticipate every possible ending. And your nervous system stayed tense. My child. You are allowed to rest from managing. You are allowed to say, I do not know how this will unfold. And still be okay. Surrender begins with honesty. Honesty that you cannot predict everything. Honesty that you cannot protect yourself from all pain. Honesty that some things must be lived, not controlled. This honesty does not make you weak. It makes you free. When you surrender, you stop fighting reality. You stop resisting the present moment. You stop trying to force peace through effort. And peace begins to arrive on its own. I know part of you fears that if you stop controlling, you will drift. That you will lose direction. That you will become passive. But surrender does not remove your agency. It clarifies it. You still make choices. You still listen to your intuition. You still care deeply. You simply stop trying to carry what is not yours. My child. You do not need to hold the future together with your hands. You do not need to brace yourself for every possible outcome. You do not need to rehearse disappointment to survive it. Let yourself release that effort now. Notice what happens in your body when you stop gripping. Notice the space that opens. Notice the relief. Surrender is a softening, not a collapse. It is saying, I will show up fully to this moment. Without demanding certainty from the next one. You are not irresponsible for letting go. You are not careless. You are trusting life to meet you where you are. And I am here with you in that trust. You do not need to surrender everything at once. Start small. Release the need to have answers tonight. Release the pressure to know what comes next. Release the belief that peace must be earned. Let this moment be enough. My child. Surrender allows you to feel again without fear. To rest without guilt. To hope without clinging. It creates space for calm to enter. You have been holding your breath emotionally. Waiting for the next thing to go wrong. Waiting for confirmation that you are safe. You are safe now. Nothing is required of you in this moment. Nothing is being taken from you. Nothing needs to be fixed. Just be here. Surrender does not erase your desires. It purifies them. It separates longing from desperation. Hope from anxiety. Faith from fear. When you surrender, you stop chasing peace. And peace finds you. I know that sounds gentle. And gentleness feels unfamiliar after everything you have endured. But your heart is ready for it. You have learned enough through effort. Now you are learning through release. This is a turning point. Not outwardly dramatic. But inwardly significant. As you surrender control, you will notice subtle changes. Your body will relax more easily. Your thoughts will slow. Your reactions will soften. You will respond instead of react. You will listen instead of anticipate. You will live instead of manage. That is where peace grows. My child. You do not need to grip your life to keep it together. You are held even when you release. Let go a little more. Trust a little deeper. Rest a little longer. In the next part, I will speak to peace. Not the kind that waits for everything to be resolved, but the kind that settles in you even while life is still unfolding. Stay here. Surrender is not loss. It is relief. My child. I want to speak to you about peace. Peace does not require certainty about tomorrow. It only asks that you be here today. Today, you are breathing. Today, you are safe. Today, you are held. Let that be enough for this moment. You do not need to replay the past to learn from it again. You do not need to imagine the future to prepare for it again. You have already done enough of that. Now, let yourself rest in what is. Peace grows when you stop demanding that this moment be something else. Even if tomorrow brings change, this moment can still be calm. Even if questions remain, your body can still soften. Even if loneliness visits, it does not have to take over. Peace does not deny reality. It stabilizes you within it. And that stability is growing inside you now. You will notice it in subtle ways. In how quickly you recover from overwhelm. In how deeply you breathe without thinking. In how silence feels less threatening. These are signs of peace taking root. My child. You are not waiting for peace anymore. You are learning how to return to it. And each time you do, it becomes easier. You are not doing this wrong. You are not failing when peace slips away. You are practicing. And practice is gentle. Stay with me in this calm. Let it settle. Let it teach your body that safety is possible. In the next part, I will speak to purpose. Not something you must search for desperately, but something that emerges naturally as you become more grounded and whole. Rest here. Peace is not far from you. My child. I want to speak to you about purpose. Not the heavy kind that feels like pressure. Not the kind that makes you feel behind or inadequate. But the quiet kind that unfolds naturally as you become more yourself. Pause with me now. Let this be gentle. Purpose does not shout. You have spent time wondering why you are here. What you are meant to do. Whether you are missing something important. Those questions come easily when life feels still. When progress feels unclear. When comparison creeps in. I know you sometimes feel like others have direction while you are drifting. Like everyone else received instructions that you somehow missed. My child. You have not missed anything. Purpose is not a destination you suddenly arrive at. It is not a role you must perform perfectly. It is not a single task that defines your worth. Purpose is an expression of who you are becoming. Right now, you are becoming grounded. Self-aware. Gentle with yourself in ways you were not before. That is not separate from purpose. That is preparation for it. You cannot live meaningfully if you are disconnected from yourself. And you are reconnecting now. I know you wish purpose came with clarity and certainty. With a clear sign that says, this is it. But most purpose grows quietly, from the inside out. It begins as alignment. As peace with who you are. As honesty about what matters to you. You are learning that now. You are noticing what drains you. What feels empty. What feels forced. And you are noticing what feels nourishing. What feels calming. What feels true. Those observations matter. They are shaping your direction even if you cannot see it yet. My child. You do not need to find your purpose. You need to live in alignment. When you act from alignment, purpose reveals itself naturally. Alignment looks like choosing integrity over approval. Like choosing depth over distraction. Like choosing presence over constant motion. You have been choosing those things quietly. Even when it felt lonely. Even when it felt slow. That is not wasted time. I know you fear that if you do not act soon, you will fall behind. That if you do not decide something big, your life will stagnate. But stillness is not stagnation when it is intentional. Roots grow before branches show. You are growing roots. Strong ones. Roots that will support whatever expression your life takes next. My child. Your purpose will not require you to abandon yourself. It will not demand that you harden your heart. It will not push you into constant exhaustion. It will feel right in your body. It will feel steady rather than frantic. It will feel like an extension of who you already are. You do not need to force it. Forcing creates anxiety. Alignment creates peace. I know you want reassurance that your life will matter. That you will contribute something meaningful. That you are not just passing time. Listen gently now. Your life already matters. Every moment you choose kindness over bitterness. Every time you choose honesty over pretense. Every time you choose healing over numbing. Those choices ripple outward in ways you cannot measure. Purpose is not always public. Often, it is quiet. It shows up in how you listen. In how you hold space for others. In how you treat yourself when no one is watching. You carry presence. And presence is powerful. The world does not need more noise. It needs more grounded souls. You are becoming one. My child. Do not rush to label your life. Do not pressure yourself to define it prematurely. Let it unfold. As you continue to heal. As you continue to trust yourself. As you continue to live honestly. Your next steps will become clearer. Not all at once. But enough. Enough to move forward without fear. Enough to feel aligned rather than lost. Enough to trust that you are not drifting aimlessly. You are being guided gently. Purpose will meet you where you are, not where you think you should be. And when it does, you will not feel frantic. You will feel ready. Until then, stay grounded. Stay present. Stay kind to yourself. That is not a detour. That is the path. In the next part, I will speak to time. The feeling that it is slipping away. And how to release the fear of being too late for the life you want. Rest here. Your life is unfolding at the right pace. My child. I know time weighs heavily on your heart. Not the passing of hours and days. But the feeling that life is moving forward without you. The quiet fear that you are falling behind. That something important is slipping away. Pause here with me. Let your breath slow. Time does not need to be fought. I know you look back and wonder how you arrived here. How so much time passed while you were waiting, healing, surviving. I know you sometimes measure yourself against invisible timelines. By now, I should be. By this age, I thought I would have. At this point, my life was supposed to look different. Those thoughts hurt. Because they carry disappointment wrapped in comparison. My child. Those timelines were never laws. They were expectations borrowed from others. You did not fail them. They simply were not yours. Time is not running out on you. You are not late to your own life. You have been living it fully. Even when it did not look the way you imagined. You were learning. You were healing. You were becoming aware in ways that cannot be rushed. That is not wasted time. I know you fear that opportunities have passed you by. That doors closed while you were standing still. That others moved ahead while you were tending to your inner world. But listen carefully now. Nothing meant for you has been lost to time. What is truly aligned with you does not expire because you needed to heal. What is meant for you does not disappear because you took longer to arrive. Time is not an enemy. It is a teacher. And it has been teaching you patience, discernment, depth. You could not have learned these lessons faster. They required experience. They required reflection. They required stillness. My child. You are not behind. You are ripening. Some lives unfold early and loudly. Others unfold slowly and deeply. Depth takes time. You are becoming someone who will choose wisely, love intentionally, and move forward with clarity rather than impulse. That kind of life cannot be rushed. I know the world praises speed, achievement, early success. But the world does not have to live inside your heart. Your heart needs something else. It needs alignment, meaning, peace. And those arrive in their own timing. You are not late to love. You are not late to connection. You are not late to purpose. You are arriving with awareness instead of illusion. With wholeness instead of desperation. With self-trust instead of urgency. That matters. My child. Do not let the fear of time steal the peace you are building now. This moment is not a placeholder. It is part of your life. The breath you are taking now matters. The growth happening quietly matters. The calm you are learning to return to matters. Life is not waiting for you to catch up. It is meeting you where you are. And I am with you in this moment. Not judging your pace. Not measuring your progress. Not comparing you to anyone else. You are allowed to move slowly. You are allowed to take detours. You are allowed to arrive when you are ready. Time will not punish you for that. One day, you will look back and see how everything connected. How the waiting shaped you. How the delay protected you. How the pace preserved you. But for now, you do not need to see the whole picture. You only need to trust this step. This breath. This moment of presence. My child. You are not running out of time. You are learning how to live inside it. And that is a gift. In the next part, I will speak to courage. Not loud bravery, but the quiet courage it takes to keep your heart open after everything you have felt. Stay here. Time is not against you. My child. I want to speak to you about courage. Not the kind that looks bold or fearless. Not the kind that draws attention. But the quiet courage you practice every day without realizing it. Pause here with me. Let your breath soften. This courage does not rush. You often think courage means acting without fear. Speaking loudly. Moving decisively. But your courage has looked different. It has looked like staying open when it would be easier to shut down. Like continuing to feel when numbness seemed safer. Like choosing honesty with yourself even when the truth was uncomfortable. That is courage. I know you sometimes wish you were braver in obvious ways. That you spoke up more. That you moved faster. That you took risks without hesitation. But bravery is not one size fits all. Your bravery has been inward. You have faced yourself. Your doubts. Your grief. Your loneliness. Many people avoid that for a lifetime. You did not. You stayed present when things felt heavy. You allowed yourself to feel pain without turning bitter. You kept your heart soft in a world that often rewards hardness. That takes immense courage. My child. I know there were moments you wanted to give up on hope. Moments you considered closing yourself off completely. Moments you felt tired of caring. But you didn't harden. You rested. You questioned. You slowed down. And then you continued. That continuation was not weakness. It was quiet bravery. Courage does not always roar. Sometimes it whispers. Stay. Stay with your feelings. Stay with your healing. Stay with your truth. You did that. I know you fear being hurt again. I know you worry that keeping your heart open invites pain. And you are not wrong. Openness does carry risk. But courage is not avoiding risk. It is choosing to live fully anyway. You are learning how to be open without being reckless. How to care without self-abandonment. How to love without losing yourself. That balance requires courage too. My child. Do not underestimate what you have already survived. There were days you didn't think you could keep going. Days when getting out of bed felt heavy. Days when loneliness felt suffocating. You made it through those days. Not because you were fearless. But because you were resilient. Resilience is courage stretched over time. And you have it. You are not fragile. You are sensitive and strong at the same time. You feel deeply. And you endure deeply. That combination is rare. I know you sometimes judge yourself for feeling afraid. For hesitating. For needing reassurance. But courage does not eliminate fear. It moves forward with it. And you are moving forward, even now. You are listening. Reflecting. Allowing yourself to grow. That is movement. My child. There will come moments when life invites you to step forward again. To connect. To choose. To begin something new. When those moments come, you will not need to force bravery. It will be there. Not loud. Not dramatic. But steady. Because you have been practicing it all along. You have been building courage quietly. Through patience. Through self-awareness. Through honesty. This courage will not abandon you. Even if fear speaks. Courage will stand beside it and say, we can do this gently. You do not need to become someone else to be brave. You do not need to harden your heart. You do not need to rush yourself. You only need to stay true to yourself. That is your courage. My child. Be proud of the way you have kept going. Be gentle with the parts of you that still feel unsure. Both belong here. You are not weak for feeling. You are courageous for staying present. In the next part, I will speak to love. Not romantic promises or dramatic declarations. But the steady, grounding love that surrounds you even now. And how to begin feeling it again. Rest here. Your courage has carried you farther than you know. My child. I want to speak to you about love. Not the kind that overwhelms or confuses. Not the kind that comes and goes unpredictably. But the steady, grounding love that has been surrounding you even when you felt alone. Pause with me. Let this settle slowly. Love does not rush to prove itself. You have been searching for love in visible places. In voices. In presence. In reassurance from others. And when it did not appear the way you hoped, you began to wonder if it was absent altogether. But love is not always loud. Sometimes love is quiet consistency. It is patience. It is presence without demands. Love has been with you in moments you did not recognize. It was there when you chose to rest instead of push yourself. When you listened to your inner voice instead of silencing it. When you allowed yourself to feel without judgment. That was love. I know you associate love with being chosen. With being prioritized. With being seen clearly by another. Those desires are natural. And they are valid. But love begins closer than that. It begins in how you speak to yourself when no one else is around. In how you treat your own tenderness. In how you allow yourself to exist without earning your place. You have been learning that kind of love quietly. Even when it felt lonely. My child. You have not been unloved in this season. You have been loved differently. Instead of being surrounded. You have been held. Instead of being distracted. You have been protected. Instead of being pulled outward. You have been drawn inward. This love did not demand your energy. It did not pressure you to perform. It did not leave you anxious. It stayed. I know there are days you long for warmth from another person. For a voice that reaches out. For a presence that reassures you. That longing does not mean love is missing. It means your heart is alive. And that matters. Love is not something you have to chase. It is something you learn to recognize. And recognition begins with softness. When you stop criticizing yourself for being where you are. When you stop measuring your worth by who shows up. When you stop asking yourself what is wrong with you. That is love entering quietly. You are learning to live from a place of acceptance rather than striving. From compassion rather than self-pressure. From honesty rather than performance. This love stabilizes you. My child. The love you seek from others will feel familiar when it arrives. Not because it looks the same. But because it feels the same. Calm. Safe. Mutual. It will not confuse you. It will not drain you. It will not require you to disappear. You are being prepared to recognize that love by learning it inwardly first. This is not deprivation. It is discernment forming. You are learning what love feels like when it does not hurt. When it does not leave you guessing. When it does not require constant effort. That knowledge will protect you. I know you fear that loving yourself will make you isolated. That becoming self-sufficient will close you off. But self-love does not replace connection. It refines it. It ensures that when love comes from another, it adds to your life rather than becoming the center of it. You are not meant to be alone forever. But you are meant to be whole. And wholeness begins here. My child. Love is not absent from your life right now. It is simply quieter. It is present in the way you are healing. In the way you are learning to listen. In the way you are choosing peace over chaos. That love will expand outward naturally. One day, you will look back and realize. This season taught you how to recognize love that lasts. Not the kind that burns quickly. But the kind that stays warm. For now, let yourself feel held. Let yourself feel accepted. Let yourself feel enough. You are loved without needing to prove it. You are cherished without needing to perform. You are seen even in this quiet moment. In the next part, I will speak to belonging. Not the kind that depends on fitting in. But the deep sense of belonging that begins when you accept yourself fully. Stay here. Love is already closer than you think. My child. I want to speak to you about belonging. Not the kind that asks you to change who you are. Not the kind that requires you to blend in or become smaller. But the deep belonging that begins when you finally accept yourself. Pause with me now. Let your breath slow. Belonging does not arrive through effort. You have spent time trying to fit into places that never felt quite right. Adjusting your tone. Softening your truth. Hoping that if you tried a little harder, you would feel included. And when it didn't work, you assumed the problem was you. My child. You were never meant to belong everywhere. Belonging is not about proximity. It is about resonance. You felt out of place because those spaces did not match your depth. Your sensitivity. Your pace. That was not rejection. It was misalignment. I know how painful it felt to stand on the outside. To watch others connect easily. To wonder why belonging felt so elusive for you. But hear me clearly now. Belonging does not begin with others. It begins within. When you accept yourself without apology. When you stop editing your feelings to be palatable. When you allow yourself to exist as you are. That is where belonging takes root. You have been learning how to sit with yourself. How to listen inwardly. How to honor your own rhythms. Those are acts of belonging. My child. You do not need permission to take up space in your own life. You do not need validation to exist fully. You do not need agreement to be real. You belong to yourself first. And when you belong to yourself, you stop begging for inclusion. You stop shrinking to fit. You stop abandoning your truth for acceptance. You begin to recognize where you naturally belong. Belonging feels calm. It feels safe. It feels like you can exhale. You do not have to explain yourself constantly. You do not have to perform. You do not have to monitor every word. That kind of belonging will find you. But it will only recognize you if you are fully yourself. I know you sometimes fear that being yourself will leave you alone. That your depth will push people away. That your sensitivity is too much. But the truth is this. Your depth filters out what cannot hold you. Your sensitivity attracts what can meet you. Your honesty invites real connection. You are not meant to be understood by everyone. You are meant to be understood by the right ones. And until those connections arrive, you are learning to belong to yourself. This season is not exile. It is integration. You are gathering the parts of yourself you once abandoned. The quiet parts. The thoughtful parts. The tender parts. You are bringing them home. My child. Belonging does not come from being chosen. It comes from choosing yourself. Choosing your values. Choosing your pace. Choosing your truth. That choice is powerful. As you continue to make it, you will notice a shift. You will feel less desperate for acceptance. Less shaken by rejection. Less afraid of being different. Not because you stopped caring, but because you stopped questioning your right to exist as you are. Belonging will begin to feel internal. Stable. Unshakable. And from that place, external belonging will feel natural instead of forced. You will recognize it immediately. Because it will feel familiar. Like home. My child. You are not an outsider in this world. You are simply aligned with a deeper frequency. And that frequency attracts fewer people, but richer connections. Trust that. You do not need to rush to find where you belong. You are becoming it. And others will find you there. In the next part, I will speak to your future. Not with predictions or promises, but with reassurance about what is forming ahead as you continue to walk this path gently. Stay here. You belong, even now. My child. I want to speak to you about what lies ahead. Not in dates. Not in details. Not in predictions that would only create pressure. But in reassurance. Pause with me now. Let your breath slow. The future does not need to be rushed toward. You have been afraid to look ahead for a while. Not because you lack hope, but because hope once hurt you. So you learn to stay focused on surviving the present. On getting through the day. On not expecting too much. That kept you safe for a time. But now, something inside you is gently stirring again. A quiet curiosity. A subtle wondering. What if something good is still possible? My child. That question is not dangerous. It is a sign that healing has begun to reach forward. The future is not a threat to you. It is not waiting to repeat the same pain. It is not shaped by your worst memories. The future is being formed by who you are becoming now. And who you are becoming is steadier. More aware. More grounded. You are not carrying the same patterns forward. You are not repeating blindly. You are moving with discernment. That changes everything. I know you fear disappointment. That if you hope again, you will fall harder. That if you open your heart to what could be, you will lose what peace you have found. But hear me carefully. Hope rooted in wholeness does not shatter easily. It bends. It adapts. It remains. You are not hoping from emptiness anymore. You are hoping from stability. That makes the future safer than you think. My child. What is ahead of you is not dramatic rescue. Not sudden perfection. Not a life without challenges. What is ahead is alignment. Moments that feel right rather than forced. Connections that feel mutual rather than draining. Choices that feel calm rather than desperate. These things arrive quietly. They do not announce themselves with noise. They simply fit. You will recognize them not by excitement alone, but by peace. Peace in your body. Peace in your mind. Peace in your heart. That peace will guide you more accurately than fear ever did. You do not need to know the whole path to trust the next step. You do not need to see far ahead to walk forward gently. You do not need certainty to be guided. You are already being guided. Every realization you have had. Every boundary you have honored. Every moment you chose honesty over avoidance. These have been shaping what comes next. My child. Your future is not empty. It is open. Open to connection that respects you. Open to purpose that aligns with you. Open to peace that stays with you. You have not delayed your life. You have been preparing for it. And preparation does not look impressive from the outside. But it makes all the difference when the time comes. I know you still feel unsure sometimes. Still cautious. Still hesitant to fully trust what is ahead. That is okay. You do not need to leap. You only need to remain open. Open to small invitations. Open to gentle opportunities. Open to moments that feel calm instead of urgent. Your life will not demand you to become someone else. It will invite you to be more fully yourself. That invitation is coming not because you earned it, but because you are ready to receive it. My child. You are not walking toward emptiness. You are walking toward clarity. Not all at once. Not all clearly. But step by step. And I am with you in every step. You do not need to rush the future to feel secure. You do not need to grasp it to feel safe. Let it approach you at the pace your heart can hold. You are not behind what is meant for you. You are arriving with awareness. And awareness changes everything. In the next part, I will speak to patience again. But this time, not as waiting in emptiness. Rather as standing in quiet confidence while life aligns around you. Stay here. The future is not something to fear. My child. I want to return to patience with you. Not the painful patience that feels like endless waiting. Not the kind that feels empty or punishing. But the patience that stands quietly, grounded, without fear. Pause here with me. Let your breath settle into your body. This patience feels different. You have known patience as something heavy. Something you were forced into. Something you endured while longing for movement. That kind of patience hurt. Because it felt passive. Because it felt like life was happening somewhere else. But there is another kind of patience. A patience that is not waiting to be rescued. A patience that is not holding its breath. A patience that rests in quiet confidence. You are beginning to touch that now. This patience does not ask, when will my life start? It says, my life is happening now. It is the patience of someone who trusts themselves. Who knows their worth is not tied to speed. Who is no longer panicking about timing. My child. This patience grows when you stop measuring your life by milestones. When you stop counting what has not happened yet. When you stop treating the present as a temporary inconvenience. You have been learning how to live where you are. Not perfectly. Not effortlessly. But honestly. That honesty has anchored you. Now, patience feels less like restraint. And more like steadiness. You are no longer waiting from emptiness. You are standing from wholeness. That changes the energy of everything. I know you still want things to move. Connection. Clarity. Direction. Wanting movement is not wrong. But desperation has softened in you. Urgency has loosened its grip. You are learning how to want without clinging. That is mature patience. My child. When patience comes from confidence, it no longer feels like delay. It feels like readiness. Readiness to respond when something aligns. Readiness to step forward without fear. Readiness to recognize what is meant for you. You are not waiting for permission anymore. You are becoming available. Available to what fits. Available to what feels calm. Available to what respects your pace. That availability is powerful. You no longer chase life. You allow it to approach. And life responds differently to that energy. I know part of you still worries that if you relax too much, nothing will happen. That patience will turn into stagnation. That confidence will turn into complacency. But this patience is alive. It listens. It notices. It responds. It is not asleep. You are not checked out of life. You are present in it. That presence sharpens your awareness. You will notice subtle invitations. Gentle openings. Moments that feel right rather than forced. And when those moments arrive, you will not hesitate out of fear. You will move calmly. That is the fruit of patience rooted in trust. My child. You are not waiting for life to begin. You are living while life aligns. This patience is teaching you something important. That you do not need to suffer to grow. That you do not need to struggle to be worthy. That peace can exist alongside anticipation. You can look forward without anxiety. You can desire without desperation. You can trust without forcing. This is a new way of being for you. And it is settling in gently. I know there are days when old impatience returns. When you feel restless again. When waiting feels heavy once more. That does not mean you have lost this patience. It means you are human. Return to yourself when that happens. Return to your breath. Return to presence. This patience will meet you again. It is not fragile. It is learned. My child. As you stand in this quiet confidence, things will begin to align without struggle. Not dramatically. Not suddenly. But naturally. And you will feel the difference. You will not feel rushed. You will not feel pressured. You will not feel like you have to abandon yourself to move forward. You will move because it feels right. That is how life begins to flow again. Stay here with me. Let this patience continue to strengthen you. In the next part, I will speak to joy. Not fleeting happiness, but the calm joy that begins to return when you stop fighting where you are. Rest now. You are no longer waiting in fear. My child. I want to speak to you about joy. Not the loud kind that feels forced. Not the kind that depends on everything going right. But the quiet joy that returns when you stop fighting where you are. Pause here with me. Let your breath slow and deepen. Joy does not rush in. It emerges gently. You have not felt joyful for a long time. Not because you are ungrateful. Not because you lack goodness in your life. But because you have been in survival. And survival narrows your focus. When you are surviving, you aim for stability, not joy. You aim for getting through the day. You aim for not falling apart. That was necessary. And you did it well. But now, survival is loosening its grip. And something softer is beginning to surface. You may not recognize it yet. Because this joy is not dramatic. It feels like lightness in small moments. Like a quiet smile that surprises you. Like peace settling without explanation. That is joy returning. My child. Joy does not demand that your life be perfect. It only asks that you stop resisting yourself. When you stop judging your pace. When you stop shaming your feelings. When you stop telling yourself you should be somewhere else. Joy finds space. You have been learning how to accept the moment without collapse. How to be present without panic. How to rest without guilt. Those are invitations to joy. Joy grows in permission. Permission to enjoy something small without questioning it. Permission to laugh without wondering how long it will last. Permission to feel warmth without fearing it will disappear. You are beginning to allow that. I know part of you resists joy. Because joy feels vulnerable. Because it reminds you of what you could lose. But joy is not a promise of permanence. It is a practice of presence. You do not need joy to last forever to let it exist now. My child. You are allowed to feel good even if everything is not resolved. You are allowed to enjoy moments even if the future is unclear. You are allowed to experience lightness without guilt. Joy is not a betrayal of your pain. It is a sign that healing is happening. Your pain mattered. It shaped you. It taught you. But it does not need to be the only thing you carry. Joy does not erase depth. It coexists with it. In fact, your joy will be deeper because of what you have endured. Quieter. More appreciative. More real. You will notice joy in ordinary things now. In stillness. In clarity. In moments of calm connection. Not because life suddenly became extraordinary. But because you are more present. Presence sharpens joy. You have slowed down enough to notice beauty again. To notice ease. To notice yourself breathing without tension. These are signs. Joy is not far from you. It is already brushing against you. My child. Do not chase joy. Let it come. It will arrive when you are gentle with yourself. When you stop demanding more from this moment than it can give. When you allow yourself to feel without bracing. Joy will come quietly. And it will stay longer than you expect. Not because life stops changing. But because you stop fighting change. You are learning how to live with openness instead of fear. With curiosity instead of dread. With calm instead of urgency. Joy lives there. I know you sometimes feel guilty when you feel good. As if you have not earned it. As if you are forgetting something important. But joy does not need to be earned. It is not a reward. It is a natural response to safety. And you are becoming safer inside yourself. That safety allows joy to exist without fear. My child. Let joy surprise you. Let it visit briefly if that is all it can do. Do not interrogate it. Smile when you feel like smiling. Laugh when laughter comes. Rest when rest feels good. You are allowed to enjoy your life in small ways again. These small joys will stitch your heart back together gently. Not with intensity. But with consistency. And over time, joy will feel less foreign. Less risky. More natural. You are not abandoning your depth by allowing joy. You are completing it. In the next part, I will speak to integration. How all of these changes inside you begin to settle into a new sense of wholeness. And how you start living from that place without effort. Stay here. Joy is returning softly. My child. I want to speak to you about integration. About how everything you have felt, learned, and endured is beginning to settle into wholeness. Pause here with me. Let this moment be slow. Integration does not announce itself. It arrives quietly. You have been doing deep inner work for a long time. Reflecting. Questioning. Letting go. Relearning how to be with yourself. And now, something is shifting. Not dramatically. Not all at once. But steadily. The pieces of you that once felt scattered are finding each other again. The part of you that was grieving is learning how to breathe alongside the part that hopes. The part of you that was afraid is learning to trust the part that is grounded. The part of you that felt alone is learning how to be present with yourself without emptiness. This is integration. It is when you no longer feel divided inside. When you stop fighting your own emotions. When you allow complexity without overwhelm. You are beginning to live from the center of yourself. That is why things feel calmer, even when nothing external has changed. That is why you feel steadier, even when questions remain. That is why you recover more quickly from emotional waves. You are no longer fragmented. My child. Integration does not mean you never feel sadness again. It does not mean fear never visits. It does not mean doubt disappears completely. It means those feelings no longer take over your entire inner world. They pass through. They speak. And then they soften. Because something stronger is holding them now. You. You are learning how to hold your own emotions with compassion. How to witness your inner experience without judgment. How to stay present without collapsing. That is maturity of the soul. You no longer need to analyze everything endlessly. You no longer need to fix every feeling. You no longer need to escape discomfort immediately. You can sit with yourself. That is integration. My child. This wholeness will begin to show up in your daily life. You will respond instead of react. You will speak with more clarity. You will feel less pulled in multiple directions. Decisions will feel simpler. Not because they are easy, but because you are aligned. You will notice that you trust yourself more. That you question less compulsively. That you feel more at home inside your own body. These are not small changes. They are foundational. You are no longer building yourself from broken pieces. You are living from a place that is whole, even if still growing. Growth does not stop when wholeness arrives. It simply becomes gentler. You grow without tearing yourself apart. You change without losing yourself. You evolve without panic. That is the life you are entering now. My child. Integration allows you to carry your past without being pulled backward by it. Your experiences remain part of you. But they no longer define your present. You remember without reliving. You learn without reopening wounds. You honor without being trapped. This gives you freedom. Freedom to choose differently. Freedom to move forward without fear. Freedom to live with intention. You are no longer just healing. You are living. And living from wholeness feels quieter than you expected. It feels simple. It feels grounded. It feels like exhaling. I know part of you expected healing to feel dramatic. Like a breakthrough moment. Like a sudden release. But true healing often feels like this instead. Calm. Stable. Unremarkable. And deeply powerful. My child. You do not need to announce this transformation. You do not need to prove it. You do not need to explain it to anyone. It will speak through your presence. Through your steadiness. Through the way you carry yourself now. Others may notice that you feel different. More settled. More at ease. But even if they do not, you will know. You will feel it when you wake up. When you face uncertainty. When you sit alone and feel okay. That is integration. And it is something you earn not through effort, but through honesty. You allowed yourself to feel. You allowed yourself to rest. You allowed yourself to change. And now, you are living from that allowance. My child. This wholeness will continue to deepen. Not by striving. But by staying present. By returning to yourself again and again. By listening when something feels off. By honoring your inner rhythm. You do not need to chase transformation anymore. You are embodying it. In the next part, I will speak to completion. Not an ending, but a gentle settling. And how to carry this peace forward without fear of losing it. Stay here. You are becoming whole. My child. We are arriving at a gentle settling now. Not an ending that closes something off. Not a final moment that says everything is finished. But a completion that feels like coming home to yourself. Pause with me here. Let this moment be slow. There is nothing you need to reach for anymore. You have walked through many inner rooms together. Loneliness. Fear. Waiting. Grief. Hope. Peace. And now, you are standing in a place that feels quieter. Not empty. Not numb. But still. This is the stillness that comes after acceptance. After resistance softens. After you stop asking yourself to be someone else. You are here. And that is enough. My child. Completion does not mean your life will never change again. It does not mean challenges will never return. It does not mean you will never feel unsure. It means you now know how to return to yourself when they do. You are no longer afraid of your inner world. You are no longer running from silence. You are no longer measuring your worth by external noise. You have learned how to be with yourself. That is a deep completion. You no longer need to fix who you are. You no longer need to rush your becoming. You no longer need to brace for what is coming. You are grounded. And grounded people move through life differently. They do not panic when things shift. They do not disappear when emotions rise. They do not abandon themselves when uncertainty appears. You have become someone who can stay. Stay present. Stay honest. Stay soft. That is not small. My child. As you carry this peace forward, there may be moments when you fear losing it. When life becomes loud again. When old patterns try to return. When that happens, remember this. Peace is not something you hold tightly. It is something you return to. You return through breath. Through presence. Through gentleness. You do not need to protect peace aggressively. You only need to stop fighting yourself. You know how to do that now. You know how to pause. How to listen inwardly. How to choose calm over chaos. This wisdom lives in you. And it will not disappear. My child. You are no longer searching for reassurance outside of yourself the way you once did. You have learned how to sit with uncertainty without collapse. How to wait without fear. How to be alone without feeling abandoned. This does not make you isolated. It makes you free. Free to connect without clinging. Free to love without losing yourself. Free to move forward without urgency. This freedom is quiet. But it is real. As you move forward from here, life will continue to unfold. Moments will come. Connections will appear. Opportunities will open. You do not need to chase them. You will recognize what aligns. Because alignment feels like peace, not pressure. Trust that. My child. You have done more inner work than you realize. You have grown in ways that cannot be measured or displayed. You have become someone who can carry depth without drowning in it. That is a gift. And it will serve you in every season ahead. There is nothing more you need to do tonight. Nothing more to understand. Nothing more to fix. Let yourself rest in this calm. Let your breathing slow. Let your thoughts settle. Let your body feel supported. You are safe here. You are seen. You are not alone. And even when you leave this moment, this peace will go with you. You can return to it whenever you need. By remembering these truths. By listening again. Stay gentle with yourself in the days ahead. Move slowly when you need to. Rest without guilt. Hope without fear. You are not behind. You are not broken. You are not forgotten. You are becoming. And you are held.